All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's last real weekend. Okay, we got intermediates coming up. That's fine, but that's in the prime time football season. You know, you got college football coming back tonight. But this is really it. This is the last good slate of the year. Let's have some fun. Let's hang out. We still got several hours until the contest starts before everything is all ready to go. What's going on, Phil? What's going on, Josh? And yeah, that's where we're at. We'll talk ownership. I'll at least explain where I'm at, and I want to discuss. Let's actually discuss strategy or things that somewhat matter. Let me make sure all this stuff is muted. Let me make sure that we do not get copywritten for no reason. My big concern, there's concerns left and right about every driver, but let's talk about one situation where I am concerned. We're going to jump right into Austin Hill. I mentioned this yesterday. We see Austin Hill here, breaks the left rear in this crash, but very little damage in the grand scheme of things. And it's something that we have seen other teams be able to fix. It's something we've seen other teams deal with. You see the left rear suspension is broken here. And I don't believe we see really any other pictures of the car. It's mainly focused on Larson at this point. But that damage that Austin Hill has, I was at this race, so I watched him go down pit lane, and the crew of the 62 car basically went over to the car, looked at the crew chief and said, yeah, it's broken. And then they packed it up and threw it away. They loaded up on the trailer and went home. And then we have the Kyle Busch crash earlier in the year at Daytona in the duel. Mind you, this is to get into the 500, okay? We look at this car, I mean, it's not that bad, man. It's really not that bad. Now, I am sure something is broken below it, but look at there's nothing over the, like this, the crew's doing nothing over here, okay? And we go ahead and look at Suarez just absolutely dump Kyle, and we see Austin Hill come in here. And, he gets on the brakes, kind of gets destroyed by Pastrana, gets thrown in the wall. But these are not massive hits. Now, as I said, I'm not saying nothing was broken on this 6-2 car for the Daytona duels. However, we have seen ever since the original owner, or like the husband that owned, Beard Racing Team, whatever, the Beard Oil, who was good friends with Brendan Gaughan, who listened to Brendan Gaughan to put Gregson in this car. Well, he passed away. He's an urn on a shelf. And the wife, the family kept this race team going in his absence because they love him and they want to keep his memory alive and stuff. But we are seeing that they are not able to repair this car on pretty mundane things that most teams in this garage are fixing. Now, I'm not saying, why aren't they completely repairing this car every time? But let's be real. We've seen plenty of spindles get broken. We've seen plenty of things get broken on these cars and these teams. They go a lap down, but DVP policy is 7 minutes, 6 minutes. Don't really care. It's stupid anyway. But roughly, the teams can take around 5.5 minutes to make these repairs. We're seeing that this car has not been doing that. It is not necessarily not exiting races with a huge amount of damage, and it's ending the race. They're not bothering to fix it. And so that's really my only real point of contention or concern with Austin Hill, because I've seen him in person, I've played Austin Hill and all that stuff, and I've played the 6.2 car back when they ran the Gen 6, and they were able to fix it. They were able to repair it. We haven't seen them be able to do that here with the next gen car. So really, Austin Hill is really the only guy that I just want to fade due to that reason alone. I don't want to play a car where a team is just going to throw in the towel if there's any damage because they can't repair it. We've seen, plenty of back markers in different series, just get destroyed and the team still go after it. This one is a situation where we haven't seen that. So that's truly my one concern with any of these guys in the back. So let's go ahead and look through this. Now, I haven't finished all my lines yet again, doing 20 in DraftKings, doing 20 on FanDuel. But we'll have a good idea of where people want to go, whether you want to fade ownership or whatever you want to do. I think we can very easily see where ownership is going to go in this race. We're seeing, but is McDowell, are they going to fix it? Is NASCAR going to allow him to fix whatever's wrong with the car? I mean, if they don't, just pull him like 30 minutes before the slate. Why is that such a big deal? Like, I don't see a reason why NASCAR would just be like, nah, man, fuck you, just have a shit car, let your ECU we're not even going to let you touch it. Like, if I was Furniture Row and NASCAR was like, no, we're not going to let you do that unless you get penalized, we're just going to be like, well, we're not going to just mail it in here. We're not just going to pack it up. We got fucking 3 cars here, So I expect McDowell's team to fix whatever it is, regardless if they have a penalty or not. As long as they, like, why would they not fix it? Why would they not? Like, who gives a shit if NASCAR allows them to? Just take the penalty. Like, who cares? But we're saying McDowell's going to carry ownership because he's starting here and he's a Daytona 500 winner. Yeah. All right, we got LaJoie, the man who has been optimal in more superspeedway events than any other driver, and that's not hyperbolic. That's not an exaggeration. That's not an exaggeration. Corey LaJoie has been optimal in the most plate races slates in DFS history. That's just how it is. Ty Dillon also falls in that category as well. Not in every single one, but Ty Dillon and LaJoie are up there. If you look back, if you go all the way, I mean, not just recently, but seriously, go all the way back and pay attention and look at optimals all the way through since NASCAR DFS was here and LaJoie started racing. He's been optimal in like every single race he's in when he starts in the back of the field. Okay. Now, I assume people are going to pay attention to that. They should. Ty Dillon as well in that situation. However, Ty Dillon is right around Bowman and Stenhouse. So when we look at the guys here, we see McDowell, we see LaJoie, we see Stenhouse, and we see Bowman that are absolutely going to carry ownership today. Because regardless of what you build them in or what you build them with, I guess I could just do this. I'm so sorry that you guys got to like stare at some small number. Because I always have it at 100. I just realized I could just make it bigger for you guys. When we're looking at how people are building lines, I would assume that these guys are the most popular plays back here. Okay. Once we start moving up, we have William Byron here, who's going to carry ownership. We have Justin Haley, who's also a phenomenal plate racer. Like, I don't foresee it happening. But, like, Haley, this isn't me, like, with my crazy, let's play fucking Rick Ware stacks. Like, Haley's a good plate racer. Like, I don't believe the ownership's going to follow Haley, but Haley knows what he's doing here. It'll probably move up to, we got to play Chase Elliott, he's got to win to get in, and NASCAR is trying to rig it for him, and they're giving him 18 more gallons of fuel than anybody else, and they're still messing it up, but Elliott is going to carry ownership. Okay, so these are the main guys in the back that's going to carry ownership. Yesterday, I can't believe it. You want to talk about insane? You want to talk about crazy? Crazy with like triple K in front of it. Austin Hill, his ownership was just baffling yesterday. I had a friend who disclosed at like high stakes. Like everybody was playing Austin Hill. I can't believe it. I don't have the bankroll to go and play with these guys. But if you're putting $5,000 on Austin Hill, what the fuck? Or what are we doing? Nearly every double up. There's a lot of double ups, a lot of head-to-heads. Not that expensive, but, in the, $100 entry, $80 entry that was playing Austin Hill. We saw Austin Hill have like 33% ownership in the $10 yesterday. That makes no fucking sense at all. That's just wild. I don't get it at all. So due to that, I assume we're going to have ownership up front, not necessarily on the pole sitter. Man, I need some water. Can I reach my water here? Yeah, because I dropped it earlier. When we look at where ownership is probably going to go at the front of the pack, now, there's a lot of different layers here. I was mentioning in Discord last night that I like, this is real DFS, man. This is real DFS hours. I'm having a blast looking at this because we have a lot of people, not galaxy brain, but a lot of different approaches that is very hard to anticipate. So clearly the Fords have speed here, okay? Probably cheating. I don't really give a fuck. A lot of people are probably going to use that and even be like, well, maybe we should stack Fords, So they're going to probably go McDowell, Gillen from the back. Probably going to put Bowman, Byron, Stenhouse, people like that. They're also, if like scatterbrained or whatever, Like I think we're gonna see a lot of ownership in here. Maybe not on one specific driver, but I think the ownership is gonna be pretty high up, man. I really do. I think we're gonna at least carry. It's got to be like 27% of the field, and if it's more than that, even better. But I think we're going to see at least 27% ownership of the field in general, not like one individual driver or those ownerships adding up. But like I think 27% of the field is probably going to have somebody starting in the top 12. So that's eliminating at least that amount of lines. We're probably going to see that on Blaney. Probably going to see it on Keselowski. I would imagine Logano. Probably Kyle Busch. Certainly Hamlin. Okay, and so like when we're looking at like realistic people who like aren't like bad plays, bad drivers, I could very easily see a lot of people being like, yeah, I'm going to do a 4-2. I'm gonna get McDowell, LaJoie, Stenhouse, Byron, and then I'm gonna play Hamlin and probably Kyle Busch, maybe Logano, somewhere around there. And so I think these are where we're gonna see pretty big ownerships. Okay. Between these guys, and so like due to that, yet again, like I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm playing the shit out of BJ McLeod. Like there is no reason to not play the guy. It's like Natalie Decker yesterday. I was like, hell yeah, she's a lap down. There's no way she's gonna be involved in a wreck, and she still ass packed somebody. Oh man, but McDowell's gonna fall into that. Poole, Yaley. We've seen Rick Ware. Yaley. I'm kind of concerned about, not because I don't. We've seen him race a lot, even in certainly in Xfinity. Anytime he's in a kart, like he wants to be up front. I have to believe that the Rick Ware cars just aren't able to give him that chance to be stupid and race up front. So that is a concern with JJ Yaley, BJ McLeod, Poole, Yaley. Clearly, I like those guys. I think you should play Ty Dillon. Clearly, these are probably going to be the four guys I'm highest on. When we look at Chandler Smith, when we look at Justin Haley. Collie cars want to get there to the end. Haley kind of knows he's on his own. He's been very brutally honest, saying that nobody wants to work with him and everything like that. We're looking at, multiple Collie cars, multiple Rick Ware cars, multiple slow cars. Back here, we have both Spire cars, Ty Dillon and LaJoie. Now, LaJoie there's a lot of reasons why I don't like LaJoie, but typically anytime we enter a plate race, he usually lies. He's usually just full of shit. Because there's been several times where he's like, I'm just going to ride in the back. And then he's racing for fourth on like stage one. And then there's plenty of times where you're like, I want to be aggressive. And then he's just riding in last this whole time. I'm going to assume that because both Spire cars are already together, the start of the race, at least stage one, they're going to be in the back of the field. When we look at, I think Haley's a phenomenal play. Chandler Smith's probably gonna be low on ownership. We've seen Todd Gilliland in very similar situations be optimal, and I'm not saying that because you got to play him because he's been optimal in the past. But when we look at where ownership is going to go, these are probably. And people always sometimes I get people being like, why do you use different colors like every time? Well, like for me, I just like using orange for chalk. I like using green as the guys I like, and then for me, blue are, I think, still phenomenal plays. That I don't think the public is just going to chase at. In the same vein, I think you should play Josh Berry. I don't envision him carrying ownership in the back. And it really, like in races like this, like realistically, we're probably going to see McDowell probably anywhere from 33 to 42%. LaJoie should be higher than that, but it'll probably be in the same vein. Stenhouse is very much he's going to win or not even finish the race. Bowman and Byron, 200 cars, 300 cars outside the top. Like I think we're going to see, whether it's intentional or non-intentional, we're going to see a lot of lineups with two of the Hendrick cars back here, if not three of them. So that really just bumps down the ownership on people like Barry, people like Ty Dillon, who are even Gillen and Smith, who are in better cars than guys in the back, and I don't think they're going to carry ownership as well. At the moment, my pool right now is just using from 39th to 27th. I'm not entirely done yet. On both sites, but that's pretty much where I'm falling into. I don't really want to be much higher. Now, with that said, and as we always say, or as I always mention, if these guys don't wreck, or if you guys wreck, you're not making money. Last night, second caution of the evening, by that point, 19 of my 20 lineups yesterday in Xfinity were pretty much dead. One guy in each of those lines was already taken out. That's just what it is. That's how it deals with. But I like not carrying ownership. Or not ownership. I like not being on the guys that carry ownership. Yet again, like my honestly, Austin Hill would usually check off that of he's in between Chastain, he's in between Byron. Probably not going to carry much ownership, but I am very concerned about the damage that we've seen from this car that they just don't bother fixing. And so, oddly enough, I think Austin Hill's probably the only guy I'd recommend like being low on at the moment. I plan on just fading Austin Hill and not I just don't see the reason of taking that risk with a guy starting 26th. But that's really about it. I think if you like Elliott, I would advise to not play Elliott as well because I think he's going to carry ownership. I think if you like Elliott, just play Eric Jones. Just play Ross Chastain. That's kind of where the entry is at, or the intro is at. So when we kind of zoom back out and look at the entire field, we can very easily kind of see where the field should go. I'm not saying Blaney's going to carry anywhere from like 30% ownership, but in this range, and the guys up here, he's going to be the guy up here. Like, this is me. Like, if you are interested in playing any of these guys in orange up here, which I'm not going to do, but if you were, like, if you like Blaney, just play Ryan Preece. If you like Keselowski, just play Truex. If you like Kyle Busch, just play AJ. If you like Hamlin, just play AJ, or just not play them in general. And that's really about it. So let's go ahead and check up on the chat. I hope I'm not stepping over anyone's live show. Don't believe I am, but I'm not entirely sure. This is way later than normal. Thank you very much for the Super Chat BVP. It has been a while, but thank you very much. What's going on, Spread Attack? What's going on, Eagles? Thank you. Got my little Mountain Dew League shirt. I haven't worn this one on a live show in a while. I was going to put on... I have a Joker shirt. It's like the money with the Joker on it, but I was already in this one. I want to pull it out of the closet. What's up, Brandon? Really get to listen live. Well, thank you for being here. Charles, I'm glad that you are able to join live. Although I appreciate the views on the replay and everything like that. My buddy is trying to get different today. He said he's playing the front row. I mean, just fucking let him then. Let him pay the rake, you know? Thoughts on Chandler Smith and Barry equipment? I'm not concerned about that. I'm not concerned about, like, Chandler Smith is in a Collie car. I'm not... Originally, it was so funny. Because, as I said, I didn't watch Q until, like, way after the race yesterday. Just with buddies. But when I looked at the fucking starting grid, I was like, oh, cool, dude, MBM is back. Because I saw the 13 car starting there. Oh, but that is not... that's not what happened. Shame that MBM is just holding on to a next gen car and they're not doing anything with it. What else we got here? But yeah, I'm not concerned about Chandler Smith or Barry. It's more so like if we're looking down into it, like Josh Berry is a pretty bad plate racer. He's just pretty bad. Chandler Smith, don't have the same confidence as I would other Collie cars who have worked his way through. The good thing is that he's been with organizations that know what they're doing. Although Collie is still just... They're not as good without the trademark 3 guys in the Xfinity Series, but the only negative towards Barry and towards Chandler Smith is lack of experience in this car. But like, I'd rather just take that than some fucking chalk Stenhouse or whatever. What's going on, Dave? What chalk do you mind not getting a little of? I also want to add that... yeah, I don't want to show the lines or anything. When I build these lines, let me look at it on the screen, because I have... Let me explain what I do. Specifically here. So, we'll use yesterday as an example here. If I can move this over. So, when I look at my lines yesterday, this is through 10, this is through 15 lines. So the chalk yesterday was Ryan Sieg and Anderson and Jeremy Clements. Figured Clements would be the highest owned. I mean, this is through 15. I did 20 lines, and you can see where we're at and why they got destroyed early. Yet again, last 6 cars, a bit of a meme line. Keep building meme lines, guys. Like, I think more people would listen to me if I just say build meme lines instead of stack on the back. Whatever. So you can see, like, I don't remember what, let's see what the ownership was on these guys. And actually, I can look up my ending, where are we at here? So Anderson, I ended up with 53%. Ryan Sieg, I ended up with 37% yesterday. And Anderson came in at 42, Ryan Sieg 53, Jeremy Clements 39. So I'm still having quite a bit of chalk, but like I'm evening it out with other guys, and so yeah, they're chalk, and it is different for Xfinity because these guys had drastically better cars, but like with that and today, like when we get to here. Like right now through 10 lines, I'm probably going to aim to have right at like 40%, 40 to 35 McDowell. I want to try and be right at 50 to 55 LaJoie. And I want to be right at maybe 20 to 25 Alex Bowman, Stenhouse, and probably like 10 to 15% Byron. That's probably where I'm going to try and come in on the field on those guys. And then, I'm just going to fucking have 70% BJ McLeod and shit. But that's really where I'm coming in at, or how I end up viewing a lot of the ownership. The guys that I want to be on, I'm going to push like towards 70% on them. With 20 lines, it's 15 to 14 to 13 lines on the guys that I really like. That's yet again it leans to like, yeah, if I get some bad breaks, I got like my lines dead on arrival. We still cashed for something, put in 500, got back 133. 123, somewhere around there. So 25, like 20% return yesterday. But even still, like you're gonna have dead lineups, and then if guys up front wreck, like it's gonna carry you. That's how I look at it anyway. Yeah, BVP has been killing it, man. You have been absolutely murdering it. I'm glad that you're sending a super chat my way. Let's see. What's going on, Dave? People were discussing how this track has been aging and getting slicker. This should have more chaos, especially with older. Yeah, especially. Well, we're seeing that. These guys don't have practice anymore. You can't. Yet again, I talked about it in the film study video that nobody watched. So, all right, whatever. Just leave the info out there. I don't give a shit. But I discussed, like, yeah, it's aging. These guys have less practice. They only have one practice session a year now on plate races, and it's for the Daytona 500, and then they don't touch it again. This track is aging. It's becoming a much more, like, you have to set up correctly for it, which is, yet again, secondary concern here. When we're looking at how skewed out these Fords are in qualifying, which that's what they should be doing. And even Brad Doherty was joking around. He's like, I didn't know that was legal. I'm going to have to spend more money now trying to, skew the car. They have to start the race like that. We don't, and they don't know exactly how that's going to perform in the draft. You can be skewed, fine. And we've seen it several times to where, you skewed and they race like that. But they used to at least be able to get practice in to understand what the car is going to do. There's, like, real chances that the Fords that were super fat, like Stewart Haas specifically, there's real chances that those Fords handle horrible in traffic, handle horrible in the draft. Could either lean to being way too tight or loose. If you think back this is several, it doesn't seem like that, but it really is. You got to remember 2013, 2014, 2015, specifically Hendrick, but even more specifically Johnson, back when, because Canals is very much a let's just get single car speeds, worry about it later, and that was fine in the Gen 4 COT. But in the Gen 6, there were several years where Johnson didn't practice with the field during the practice session, so it was all single car speed trimmed out, and he was incredibly loose in the draft. That's how Junior, I believe, lost Amelia. Could be another car. I know Junior was in a similar situation there because Hendrick just didn't practice in the draft those years, and ended up causing them to run into issues and crash and spin out in the race. So we got a lot on, which we're not playing these fucking guys anyway. But, it'd be really rad. It'd be like totally tubular if they took the green like lap 3, Harrison Burton loses it and takes out the top half of the field. That'd be perfect. But like, there's a lot of unknowns with how these guys are going to handle with their cars in the setup, especially when you're that faster than the field. Like that's, that's just how it is. When you looked at Austin Hill yesterday, when Austin Hill lost the lead, trimmed out fastest car out there. We understand that. When he got behind people, and you would see him when he would bump anybody or even just get up close to him, not even necessarily give contact, there'd be so much air going down on his car, you would see his front splitter hit the racetrack, and you'd see sparks coming out of the left front because all the pressure was being pushed down. Because that car wasn't built to run in the pack. It was built to lead a line to it. And you saw that his handling struggled in the pack, even when you have the fastest car. And so this is a major concern for the guys up here. That kind of going back to the comment you gave, Dave, like everybody in the garage assumes this is going to be a wreck fest. Like, this isn't just us. All the teams agree with that. They just want to survive. And I'd rather just play the guys starting in the back, How many doms? That's funny. Yo, what's going on, Clutch? Will you be live for trucks tomorrow? I will be live for trucks tomorrow. All right, Brian. Let's see. Sharing a line. Let's see. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if we want to steal Brian's line here, in a race to where truly getting off of duplicate lineups is very important here, because any lineup can really work. I'm glad that you're sharing what you're playing here. So we got Barry. We got Kyle Busch. We got Justin Haley. We got Chastain, Jones, and Hamlin. Which I think that's fine. I think you're going to have ownership. I think you're going to have a lot of ownership on Hamlin for sure. An unnecessary risk with Kyle Busch. Same thing with Chastain. When we visualize races, and this is why specifically I don't want to chase these guys, is who can you see being up there racing for the win at the end of this race? And where do the wrecks come from? They literally come from like third, second place, fourth place, making a block or making a move and causing fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth to wreck, or even higher up and stuff. And Kyle Busch is going to be competing for the win. Chastain is going to be competing for the win. Hamlin is going to be competing for the win. Haley is going to be up there depending on how soon it is. So if there's a wreck, there's a really high likelihood that lineup can have 2 to 3 drivers be involved in that crash. So like that's the risk that a lineup like that takes. It's going to be guys that are right up front. So like when I'm building or I see things like that, it's like, well, I don't want to be on that type of line. I'd prefer it if I can avoid, as backwards as it sounds, I want to avoid the people who are going to be running up front for the win. Especially if we are lucky enough to go into green white checkered after green white checkered. Well, then that's the guys who are going to be wrecking it. It's the guys for the win. It's the guys up front. So I really, really try and not play those guys for that reason alone. Now, say if they go green to the end and they don't wreck, well, then that line is probably going to score very well. That's just my reasoning behind why I don't want to be there. Or be on those guys. I mean, if he doesn't believe it, he doesn't believe it, man. I already had people yesterday sending me messages on Twitter calling me a dumbass. So, like, it's whatever, man. The more people who, first off, don't have not even the bankroll, but have the ability to go back to a process like every time. Like people who like, oh, dude, OBJ, he only got 3 targets and he dropped 2 of them, and he only got 32 yards in this last game, and they don't play him the next week. Like, it's people like that like why we keep playing DFS. Like anybody who jumps ship when you find a process that you like that process will hit. You just stay on it. For me, it's worth doing this every single race because when it hits, it's more than worth it. So like, yeah, your buddy Brett, stack the back, and if you don't believe me, go right ahead. Or like yesterday, I'm mentioning all my lines got killed. It was looking like all the guys who played Austin Hill weren't necessarily going to be destroyed. And Austin Hill finishes, I don't remember where he finished, but he finishes like 5th, 4th. Not optimal, but he's not killing those lines because the fucking half of the field is dead and all the guys in the back aren't going to be able to pass him, So it's certainly days like that to where people are like, are you sure this stack from the back stuff works? All those idiots just wrecked there. Like that's just how it is. Going big this week. Got $1.20. Hell yeah, Phil, kill it. Tricks go right back to the background. Well, that doesn't help you at all. Why? Tricks is like, I'm saying if you're considering playing Logano or Keselowski, you should just play Tricks because he has low ownership. All these guys are bad plays up here. Like, Tricks going to the rear doesn't fucking do anything. He avoids the wrecks. Okay, so what? He rides in the back all day. These idiots up front wreck. Okay? He rides in the back. All the people in the back ride all day. So he's in the back riding with, like, J.J. Yaley, Brennan Poole, Todd Gilliland, all the guys in the front wreck. And all the guys who've been riding in the back finish, inside the top 25. Well, then Truex better be winning the fucking race, otherwise he's going to be outscored by these guys. So, like, just don't play Truex. Why does him going to the rear matter? Age Omnier is nice playing these tracks, not starting 17th. Getting called a dumbass by somebody, I don't know what that, I can't read that. Hold on, let me see. By someone on Xfinity has to warm the insides. Dude, it's wild, man. It's wild. I'm so divisive, it's not even funny. There's so many guys who, like, are, like, a lot of people not saying you guys don't know of, but, like, they're not touts, they're not content creators, but, like, they enter a lot of money. A lot of those guys like me. Like, a lot of the people who, like, enjoy NASCAR DFS and enjoy game theory, a lot of them message me and, like, enjoy talking to me. Maybe not, like, publicly and stuff, but, like, a lot of them like me. Whereas a lot of people who are more of the louder characters in this, like, space don't like me. Which I don't care one way or the other. But I just find it really interesting that I have a lot of people who, like, aren't loud people on social media who, like, DM me, who I talk to a lot. Like, it's wild. So, yeah, like, somebody's mad at me because I was, like, stacked the back yesterday. And then, also, like, no other tout is going to be out there being, like, recommending people to play Nally Decker. Like, that's just how I am. Like, yeah, she was a fucking great play. If she doesn't wreck running last the lap down, she passes, like, the entire field yesterday. It's wild. But nobody's going to do that. Nobody's going to take that stand. But I just find that interesting. Let's see, what is this? He wants me to ask what contest he should enter GPP-wise. Again, ask for Brett. Is this Brett really real? I don't know, man. Asking for my friend. What should I enter? Well, what is his goal today? Because cash is very difficult, which is so backwards. I want to bring this up. Not this, like I said, I don't enjoy doing screenshots and stuff. However, this is a good little just visual. I gotta find this thing. This is a good visual representation of how difficult cash is and the backwards ass approach that people have in it. I gotta find this. So this is, oh boy. This is last year. This is my results last year on the Sunday. So, brother, man. Am I not able to open this in a bigger tab? What the hell? Okay, here we are. So this was last year's Sunday thing, and as you can see, I mean, this says, like, everything that I did that day. So it has, I didn't win anything on CSGO, and I got, this is the Xfinity stuff. I had my ass handed me on F1. However, so when we go through, so you've seen how I build lineups. You saw my lineups in my videos. So these are GPPs, clearly. I mean, we're going to go up and up and up. And you can see that 19 out of my 20 lines and roughly 17 of my 20 lines are cashing in GPPs when it's a wreck fest. However, this is insane. This is the real note that you should be paying attention to. Now, this is a $1 double up, and this is the qualifier. I know I did for a fact a $5 double up. Yeah, so this one here and this one are so interesting. The higher you go up, maybe not higher stakes, because those guys are not, I don't want to say, yes, they may have been, I don't know, I'm not very familiar with high stakes, like 10 mans, 3 mans, 4 mans. But this is so interesting. This is what really shook me hard. Because these are the exact same lineups. And this was the big... Do I have one more double up? I don't think that I do. But these are the same lines. I won the small $15 contest in. And I entered the big contest. And all these are finishing in the top 15-ish% of this contest. However, in the cash, in the double ups, like people are building from the back. Like, what the fuck? Why? What is this backwards ass mentality? Which, double up guys are not doing anything wrong here. But why are you not entering these lineup? Why are you not building that way in the other That makes like no logical sense. So people understand like the safe plays are to stack from the back. So they do it in cash, but they don't enter those in GPPs to where those are the lines you should be entering in GPPs. Like I'm baffled. I was really shocked to see how badly some of these lines performed in the double up because there were so many people playing guys from the back in cash. So I would highly encourage you to not play cash in this weekend because everybody's playing optimally in cash for sure, and you could take way better advantage of the ownership in GPP. So going back to your question for Brett, I would play GPPs, depending on your bankroll, or single entry, but that's, excuse me, it's got a lot of risk involved because that's one line. You can have one guy just get fucked. You could stack from the back and still get fucked there. But the $12 single entry, $4 20 max. If he wants to do less lines, the $3 3. And that's really what I would kind of stop him at. If he's not really huge in DFS, the 15 is its own animal. I don't think I'd recommend that. Or the 5. 5's a 150 max. That's I'm playing here because I got 20 lines, but that I'm always concerned on the 5 just because it pays out. I don't like the payout structure of it. And you got a lot of like 150 guys in there, and it's low enough to where you still got to fucking deal with like McLovin and Whistles Go Woo and shit like that. I'm still convinced that if Whistles Go Woo, who like has the money to just piss away, he would eat us for breakfast. Like if he just said, yeah, I'm just gonna build lines with like the last 16 drivers, he would probably kill the field. Like any 150 maxer in the big 15 who has like the 25 or 2200 or whatever it is to spend, and if they actually did 150 lines in the back, they'd probably just wipe the floor with us. But so because that's expensive for the 15, but I think that's maybe not a real concern, but it's way more probable to run to people like that in the $5 one. So I wouldn't recommend the $5 one for somebody if you're not like knee deep into this weekend and stuff. Let's see. Sterling. I didn't even see that. That's so funny. And meanwhile, I'm like, I don't know if you want to chase that. I don't know, because it's going to get expensive real fast. You're all right and entertaining. I'm just all right. I'll take that. That's fine. At least I'm not hated. Let's see. I did well yesterday. Are you playing Byron or Bowman? I'm glad you did well yesterday, Tyler. I am probably going to try and be right at 15-20% on Byron, similar to Bowman. I'm okay with Stenhouse. As I said, I'm probably going to end up... I don't remember what I said. I want to try and end up with like 35 to 40% McDowell. I'll probably do the same thing with Stenhouse because Stenhouse is I think people are not scared. It's always weird to see ownership here, but like people have such a negative lean towards Stenhouse because he just wrecks a lot. He wrecks people, but like that's a guy who like almost back to the argument that I was making for what's his name for Brian's lineup when I was like, yeah, Kyle Busch, Chastain, Hamlin will be up there if they wreck. Well, Stenhouse will be there as well, but Stenhouse is the guy who wrecks other people and typically isn't involved in the wrecks that he causes. So, like, Stenhouse, his DNF percentage is probably over 65. Like, I think it's closer to 75, 80. But it's very rare. It's almost like a UFC fighter. Like, his percentage to win the fight is very low. Like, he's a really big underdog. But if he, in those situations that fighter wins, it's most likely not going to be due to a decision. It'll most likely be like a first round TKO, or maybe a second round or whatever. But it's very rare that fighter is going to win on decision. So, like, if an underdog fighter has a 20% chance to win, it's not going to happen every time they win. But of the times that they win, there's a high likelihood that it's a very early win. So with Stenhouse, yes, it's a very high likelihood that Stenhouse is wrecked out in this race. But in the situations and races that he's not wrecked in, the likelihood that he finishes, not even good, but the fact that or let me change that. The times that he finishes races, the likelihood that he finishes top 13 is very high. And even pushing more, the times that he finishes, his chance of being optimal, which I don't like talking optimal for these races, but like this is a good like actual talk for Stenhouse. His chance of being optimal in those races that he finishes is pretty high. And so like I would rather play Stenhouse over like Bowman and Byron, because Stenhouse is such a wild card, and his percentage to win is, maybe not win, but his percentage to finish well and finish optimal is way higher than his likelihood it is than like other people to finish. Is this making sense? I feel like I'm talking too much to like I'm ruining the point, but you get what I'm saying here with Stenhouse and stuff. Anyway, so back to the Bowman and Byron. I'm not going to be playing a lot of Bowman and Byron today. Let's see. Where's Bubba? I don't even know where Bubba's starting. All right, so Bubba Wallace is starting fourth, okay? He's never won a NASCAR before. And, you know, he is very good here. You know, his best finish in NASCAR is second in the Daytona 500. So, I mean, he's going to be fast. That 2311 camp certainly has speed. You know Hamlin's going to want to push him or Reddick. Hamlin's already talked about that stuff. Bubba's going to be fast. He's going to be up there. Do I think he makes it on points? I'm going to assume that he does, because he's probably going to score a lot of stage points. Like Bubba Wallace is going to be a guy that runs up front all day. I imagine Toyota's going to be pretty aggressive on that if they're not already starting up there. Like Wallace, Ty Gibbs are probably going to be there. I really do think Bubba's going to be up there all day. And I think if Hamlin can get up to the front very fast, they're just going to try and hold the track position up there all day. I think Bubba makes it on points. Although I don't even know the point situation. That's how little I care about it. But there's a high likelihood that he scores a lot of stage points and stuff in this race. In terms of win, I mean, Bubba Wallace is I assume if you're betting, like, why would you bet money on this outside of like the parlay? Like, if you guys remember the last year, like $1 million parlay the guy made on FanDuel that he went all over the place and did interviews and shit on. I had a Patreon, or at least a viewer in here, did the same bet. I think the guy who won $1 million did it for like $22. My guy did it for like $7, whatever, and I think he won like $50,000 off of it. He was quiet about it. He didn't say much. Like, if you're just gonna bet, and I don't know if the sites still let you do that, because I can't bet here in Texas, so I never even bother looking at the sports bet or the sports book apps. But I would be trying to put parlays together for top tens, and or just like finishing high for like the guys in the back. Like that, I feel like that's the better play. But very long winded going back to you, Clutch. I think it'd be very interested. I think he has a good chance of getting his first ever win in NASCAR history at a place like this. Kevin, you bring up Bubba's win. I don't remember this at all. I don't believe this race even happened. I don't know. I think you're wrong. I don't believe Bubba Wallace has ever won in NASCAR at all. Like, man, I don't know, man. Has he ever won? Bubba Wallace. You know, no way. Oh, I spelled the name wrong. Or does he still pop up under Daryl? All right, so we got Bubba Wallace here. Has he ever won in NASCAR? No, he hasn't. Like, has this man ever won? Okay, yeah. So like he has the one win, at Michigan, which was in a cheating car. But like this 2021 talk that you're talking about, I mean, this, I don't know, man. Last time I checked, the Talladega races are a lot more than 117 laps. I'm pretty sure they're 188. So I don't believe that Bubba Wallace has ever won a NASCAR race. Okay, so you guys need to stop correcting me about Bubba Wallace because he's never won a fucking race. Okay. Let's see what else. I think we about covered everything. We can goof around and have a good little talk over here. What else? What else? I can't think of anything else to really say. We kind of know where I'm at. I mean, I think I about covered everything. What time is it? How long have we been live? We've been here for about 45 minutes. I'll stay around for another 5. You guys want to chit-chat and stuff. Update on the battery situation from yesterday. I have a guy coming over. I am willing to pay somebody to get my fucking battery out. But man, I had a mechanic straight up tell me he turned me down because he truly thought I was trying to mug him. Which is probably my fault. I have an issue with being too honest, and I was like, called him and I was like, dude, I got the easiest job ever for you, man. I got like 10 minutes of work. I'll pay you $50. All you gotta do is take this one bolt out and get this battery out of my car. Can you just come over and do it now, please? He's like, and he was honest. He was like, dude, this sounds sketchy. I'm sorry, but I have to pass. So my issue is so stupid. I have literal mechanics pass on the easiest money ever because they think I'm trying to mug them. Any interest in Ross Chastain? At the moment, I don't have any. I don't know if I'm going to get to Chastain. If I do, it might be like 10% or something along those lines. But that's really about it. Let's see what else. His stepfather was too. That is true. You know, I think that is who you're referring to, Kevin. Yeah, Bubba Wallace is. And actually, his uncle Darrell Wallace used to be in the booth for NASCAR. The Wallace family is pretty famous, but you might be mistaking him for his very similar looking family members who have also raced in NASCAR. I just don't want to play like people up front. Like I just like Cindric, AJ. I don't know. Like if you're considering playing guys up front, I think you should play all the guys in white and not the guys in orange. Just get off the ownership, and that's really about it. How are we looking at contest sizes? I would really like them to open up a secondary 15 if they have not already done so. They have. Holy hell. And it's a $47. Yes. Okay. Or it's a 47 inch. So, all right. That's what I was waiting for. I'm entering the second $15 contest. Again, that's what I was waiting for. So that's an additional $300. But I've been waiting for them to open up another $15 contest. So that's good to see. Are they going to open up another 4 is the next question, which that, if they do, that's going to be very small since we're getting down to about 3 hours left. They open up a new 5. Okay, the new 5 doesn't pay out that bad, 24% payout. There's a real good chance that I enter the new 5 and the 15, and possibly if they make a new $4 contest, which that should be an indicator for you guys. If you're not already in the bigger contest, you should get in there because they are going to fill. Typically, the smaller contests pay out a bit better, so we will have to see. Well, damn it, they did have another 4. It's 1,100 people, 25. I got to really think about this now because I got right now I'm at 500 on DraftKings. I'm at like 240 on FanDuel. So I'll probably end up having around 800 on DraftKings today, if not 9, by the time all this is over, which is perfectly fine. That is clearly budgeted for, but that's where we're at. What else we got? Top 5 drivers: Jimmy, McDowell, probably LaJoy, Yaley, Poole, Gillen Smith, BJ. I mean, it's those guys there. I think you should have as many of those guys as possible. I think Haley makes a lot of sense. I think he's going to be under-owned compared to compared to his upside. Ty Dillon as well. That's really about it. McDowell unable to determine issue. Well, it sounds like we get some discounted ownership on McDowell. So that's fine. Because like the way I view it, like if I play 30% McDowell, let's do it 25 because that's easy for me to pay attention to in my head. So that's 5, or even 36. So if McDowell runs into issues or whatever, that's 5 of my 20 lines hurt. As long as it's not like a terminal issue in the motor, he'll get back out there. He could be 15 laps down. Doesn't matter. He's starting last. He's finished 28th. McDowell. That's all you need. So I'm not very concerned about it. Now, unless it's like, as I said, we're 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes away from the start, and like they can't crank the car. Like they're like, we're gonna miss the start of the race. Well, then that situation where I'd start getting off McDowell. But at this point, I'm perfectly fine staying like 30% on him. Especially if people are gonna start jumping off of him, like even better. And that is about it. Thank you very much for the 102 you guys who joined me on this Sunday afternoon. McCar's had engine issues. Don't play McDowell. I disagree, Charles. Because a lot of the times the engine issue is I'm assuming that the true issue is in the ECU. Because we really don't have mechanical failures anymore. It's typically an electronical failure in the ignition system or in the ECU. I would much rather them just replace all that, which, as I said, I'd love if anybody would like actually report on anything. Let's see what Bob Cockris is doing today. Is he like actually doing anything? All right. Smith and Barry to the rear, like I give a shit about that. And McDowell, who felt this car just getting up to speed in qualifying, hope this team would be able to diagnose some of the limited things they could do because of impound they were unable to determine the issue. We'll have to hope for the best in the draft. Oh, so they're just not giving a shit at all. Why would they not do that? Why would front row like not repair that? That makes no sense. Like, just take the fucking penalty because of the impound. Who gives a shit? Like, do the drive-through. Start from pit lane. That makes no sense at all, those idiots. So this is where I'm at. Like, he didn't get up to speed. But yet again, I played Nally Decker last night, who wasn't up to speed. I played Derek Cope, who wasn't up to speed. I played LaJoy back in the day, who had a lot of, was it brake issues? I don't remember. There was a period of time where, like, we have these races from LaJoy. This is gonna be, hold on. Let's do, I can't look at drivers per se. LaJoy ran into a lot of issues these years before COVID, so it's probably one of these. I gotta look through. It's a Talladega Fall race. See a lap down here, finish on lead lap, so it's not that one. 2020, this might be too forward. No, this is it. So here's a great example. So we have LaJoy, who has to go in the pits and goes multiple laps down because they have an engine issue, or they have some sort of issue. And this was early in the race too. Like, this was, I don't remember what, I mean, this is a fucking race from 2020, random, Talladega race. This is a race I won a lot of money off of, because this is back when I'm like, when I talk single entry, this is what I would do. So we look at this from the starting grid, and this will all come back to. Also, I got like the best compliment ever last night. Like, this was something wild. I had an individual that I talked to a lot give me some data to look at and everything, and then he said, I don't mind sharing it with you because these plate races better than anyone, and might be able to pick something out from this data. But like, that was such an awesome compliment, because I just love these races. So like, this exact McDowell issue, we've seen it before with LaJoy. LaJoy went laps down here and went 12 laps down, and this was early in the race. And when you look at where he started, we saw, Quinn Houff, this is the guys I would play: Quinn Houff, Cody Ware, Haley, Gaze, and Timmy Hill. And my last guy in was LaJoy. And this is back when I didn't have a ton of money. So I put like $200 on just one lineup. And I entered it in $3, 44, the 12, the 15, and all that stuff. And I won like $900, $700 off of this race. And the reactions of it are on my YouTube channel. Cody Ware gets wrecked on the last lap. And they don't throw a yellow. And LaJoy just runs last all day. Literally all day. And because he's 12 laps down, he has to pass people when they wreck out, but he didn't kill you. And this is even a worse situation because this guy's starting 28th and he finishes 29th. McDowell today is starting dead last. So, like with me having 5 lineups with McDowell who has an engine issue, like, okay, if it blows up, he starts last. It's not gonna be fantastic, but his what is he making? How many points is he? He's starting with 2 points. 2 points is the least amount of points McDowell is going to score. So does that 2 points, is that going to be the lowest score? No. He's probably going to be the 7th lowest score if he scores 7 points. But he's not going to destroy those lineups. That's not a situation to where I would jump off somebody. I'm on him 25-30%. 5 of my 6 of 15 lineups would have McDowell. If people want to jump off of him, I mean, by all means, get the fuck off of McDowell. Lower the ownership for me. Let McDowell. And that's actually better. If he's down on power, especially if that sounds like it's getting up to speed, so it could clearly be an actual mechanical issue. It could be the way the computer is set up to get through the gears and how much, I'm not trying to use mumbo jumbo and stuff, but there's a lot of situations like how they set up a car, specifically for the plate races, that they set up to run at a high speed at a high RPM, and if it's doing anything, I mean, if you remember back in the day, if these guys didn't run full out, we're talking 2090s and 80s, they would bore the engines out and set them up to where if you did not run full bore, or not, if you didn't run full full throttle, you'd burn the pistons out of these things. They were set up to run and just hum at 8,400 RPMs the whole time. I'm not saying these engines are as susceptible to that, but a lot of these engineers are setting the motor to be able to just run perfectly at the ideal performance rate. It's right below red line and stuff, or maybe not red line. I don't know what their chip is now, but if there is an issue getting up to speed, he only did the 1.5 laps, I'm not too concerned about that. Worst case scenario, if it is, worst case, he doesn't fucking start the race or he pulls off or whatever. What I think is the best case scenario is he has equivalent speed to BJ McLeod, Yaley, and Poole. We talked about it yet again in the film study video. I talk about how you can visibly see what the draft does to the cars, to these slow cars, the Rick Ware cars, and everything in the draft. We can eyeball test that they just don't have the speed that these other cars have. But if McDowell is down on power, then he's going to probably be running equivalent power to the Rick Ware cars, to the BJ McLeod cars. Or he could be the slowest car on track, but he's still going to be over minimum speed. Minimum speed is an astonishing 160 mile per hour baseline. So if McDowell's off pace, that means he's not going to be on the pack. That means if we get a wreck early, he's going to pass people. I was already going to try and be under the field of McDowell. But if the field is even going to get off of him, well then, yeah, I'm perfectly fine just staying with my 30-25% or whatever. That's how you should be viewing this stuff. This is all ownership today, so I'm not really worried about that. 80, thank you very much for the 69. I appreciate it. Congratulations on your night last night. Let's see what else. If someone gave me 100. And I had to put on a driver to win, and not a meme, not a long shot. I would, realistically speaking, especially if odds didn't come into it at all. It'd probably be Stenhouse. It would probably honestly be Stenhouse. Let's see. NASCAR won't let them. Well, like, yeah, they won't. Like, we've had impound races before to where guys, like, go in there and, like, mess them. Or, like, if that's, like, a brand new, like, if they're being more stern with, like, it's true impound, it's a true impound, it's locked in the garage, you can't get in. Like, that's just fucking stupid. Like, dude, that's just fucking stupid. Hey, let it be known I had 20 teams last night and won 1-0. LMO, I expect another stellar performance tonight. Yeah. I don't know if that's sarcasm is very difficult to read in text. I don't know if that is a good comment towards me or a bad comment towards me, Joe. What else? Yeah, I think that's about it. I am very, very curious on the McDowell ownership now. I'm playing him. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't play anybody here. Like, they could easily. The field could die. We've seen it before in the 500. Like, they die on, like, lap 8. You know, they have the big one lap 8 and just ride. But, like, McDowell's starting last. If he finishes 30th, that's a fucking good day for it. Like, that's perfectly fine, man. If any of these guys up here wreck, it's over. As I said, I think we're probably going to see at least 27% of the field at some point have one of the guys starting in the top 12, if not more. If it's higher, that's great. If you combine that with the ownership that Hamlin and Elliott is going to have, that's honestly going to probably cover half the field. You're going to have, maybe not half, anywhere from, I think it's realistic to say anywhere from 40% to 45% of the field have somebody in the top 12 and or have Hamlin and Chase Elliott. I think it's going to be more. Getting off those 14 drivers is already building you different. If you combine that with getting off of or being lower on Byron, Bowman, Stenhouse, like, let's change it up. How much of the field is going to have somebody in the top 12 and or Hamlin, Elliott, Byron, Bowman, LaJoie, and McDowell? That's probably taking up 70% of the field. You know, I think 70% of the field would have one of those drivers in it. So, like, getting off of that is already leading you down, like, totally different roads. So, I think you should play a lot of BJ, LaJoie, Smith, Gillen, Poole, Yaley, Ty Dillon, Barry, Haley. I think those are the guys that I would want to be highest owned on. And then you can start doing one-offs and stuff up here, but that's really what I would focus on. No, it's true, my luck. You just got to stick with it, Joe. Thoughts on Logano? Where's Logano at? He's 14th. He's going to be up front. He's going to compete for the win. Hopefully he'll be involved in the wreck on, like, the third green-white checkered. I think yeah, and I'm with you there. Are you picking any up front or no? I'm not picking anybody up front. So anyway, kind of going back, thank you very much for the support, BVP, on the $50 super chat. Thank you very much, AD, for the $6.90 for the 6-9, the nice number. And best of luck, guys. We have 2 hours and 40 minutes till the DraftKings contest locks, and then we have, where are we at for FanDuel? We have an hour and 56 minutes until FanDuel locks. Best of luck today, guys. Hope you guys have a fun time. Hope you can sit around with friends and family and let somebody, like, sit down with your wife or whoever you're with who, like, knows nothing about racing and just be like, yeah, I hope this guy dies. Like, I don't have this guy. Or this guy's high owned. I hope this guy fucking flips. And, like, have those conversations with him. I think it's cool. I think it's fun. I will see you guys tomorrow for the Truck Series at Milwaukee. I keep forgetting we have a fucking truck race tomorrow, which is lame. Should have just been these two. Should have just been Xfinity and Cup. But, yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow for the Truck Series video. Live show. I have no idea when that's going to happen. It's going to be a pretty tight window between Truck Q and Truck Race, I believe, unless it's a night race. I don't remember. I'm concerned about F1 first. Truck is tomorrow. We'll worry about that after Q Truck. So I'll see you guys later.